Australia is at a crossroads over its population growth strategy. Anti-immigration rallies have sparked heated debates, with organizers claiming migration levels are unprecedented. But the numbers tell a more nuanced story. Let's dig into the facts, the politics, and why this issue is so divisive. But here's where it gets controversial. The protests aren't just about population size. They're about who is arriving. As Multicultural Affairs Minister Anne Alley pointed out, the marches target migration from brown-skinned countries, not white Western nations. This raises a critical question. Are these concerns rooted in genuine infrastructure challenges, or do they mask deeper biases? Let's unpack the data to find out. The big picture, population trends. Australia's population has typically grown 1 to 2% annually for 2 decades. But 3 major events disrupted this trend. 1. The 2008 global financial crisis. Expats returning home pushed growth to 2%, 460,000 new residents in 12 months. 2. The pandemic. Border closure slashed growth to a record low of 0.1%, 25,000 people added. 3. Post-pandemic surge. Reopened borders triggered a 663,000-person influx in 1 year, the highest since the baby boom era. So yes, migration has spiked recently. But this ignores the 2020-2021 crash. The real story is a pendulum swing, not a one-way trend. Pawn versus migration. Natural growth. What's the split? Population growth has 2 drivers: births, deaths, natural increase, and migration. Over the past 20 years, migration has been the main force. Here's why. Natural increase fell from 100,000 to 200,000 annually, to the lower end of that range since 2022, due to declining birth rates and an aging population. Migration dominated growth pre-pandemic and surged post-pandemic. The last time births outpaced migration as the top growth factor was 2004. And this is the part most people miss. The government's forecasts have been wildly off since 2019. For example, the Morrison government predicted 271,300 migrants in 2019-20, but the actual figure was negative 85,000 due to the pandemic. Fast forward to 2022-23, and the Albanese government forecast 235,000 migrants, but the real number was 538,300. These mismatches have fueled political drama and public frustration. What's the real impact of migration? To understand migration's role, we need to decode net overseas migration. This metric tracks people who stay in Australia for at least 12 months of the past 16, excluding tourists. It includes foreign-born migrants on temporary or permanent visas, Australians returning home or leaving the country. The Australian Bureau of Statistics, ABS, warns against using raw border crossing data like arrivals, departures, to calculate migration. For example, someone on a temporary visa who travels in and out multiple times might be counted as a visitor dozens of times, even though they only migrated once. This can skew public perception. The bigger debate: stealth growth or real planning? Protesters argue the government is importing a big Australia by stealth, but the data doesn't fully back this. If we apply pre-pandemic growth rates to today, Australia's 2024 population, 27.4 million, is lower than projected, 27.9 million. So while migration has spiked, it hasn't exceeded long-term trends. Here's the catch. The real controversy lies in how migration is managed. Crititas, are we preparing infrastructure, housing, and services for a growing population? Or are we prioritizing numbers over quality of life? Politicians like David Pocock argue for a sensible conversation about these trade-offs, but can leaders bridge the gap between data-driven policy and public sentiment? Final thought. Where do you stand? Australia's population puzzle is far from simple. Should we embrace growth to fuel the economy, or slow it down to ease pressure on cities? Are the protests about legitimate concerns, or do they reflect deeper anxieties about cultural identity? We want to hear your take. Drop a comment and share your perspective. After all, the future of Australia's population strategy depends on this very debate.